Today, I want to talk about practice, and more specifically, I want to talk about roll bag trainers. If you've been on Facebook recently in the last couple weeks or so, you've probably seen a company promoting a roll bag trainer. Probably seen multiple companies. They've been all over Facebook recently. Today, I have the Easy Roll from True Cornhole, and I've been using these now for a bit, and I wanted to talk about how I use them. I got some clips here. I'm going to show you how I use them and talk about what you can use them for because I found that these are beneficial for more than just rollback training. So even if you're not a rollback thrower, there's a lot of different things you can utilize these bags for to really help improve your game, help you improve a lot of different techniques and skills, and just make you a better player. I want to get started talking about what these rollback trainers are. And it's basically the simplified version. It's two bags put into one. These have a suede slow side here, which is really sticky, like a 2 to 3 speed material. So you put them down on the board, sticky side down, and what they're doing is they act as a block or an obstacle so you can practice throwing rollbacks. There's a lot of feedback from these where people say these bags are not beneficial because this doesn't react like a real bag. That's true, 100% true. These do not react like a real bag. But that's also a positive to me. So when I went out and threw these bags, I went out and threw. I started practicing roll bag training, and I threw for about 15 or 20 minutes of practice with these bags. And towards the end, I had two of the best rolls I've ever thrown in my life. Is it because of these? Yes and no. And the reason I say that is, did these did these cause me to throw a better roll back? No. But what it did do is it allowed me to maximize my practice session. So the problem I have when I go to practice rolls, if I put bags on the board, set them up, and I start trying to practice roll over them, what happens is my miss is typically a flat bag. I throw, and my bag comes out flat. It hits, and you'll see here, I did a clip of me throwing it. It hits, and then I pushing one of the blocker bags in, and now I no longer have a blocker bag to roll over. So that means the next three bags I throw are going to be something other than rollback training, right? I'm going to be throwing, maybe I can try to throw roll bags with them, but I'm not getting the feedback because there's no bag for them to roll over. So I end up having to either go down and reset those bags to play, or I just throw three bags and go and try again. And what happens? It happens. If I throw one bad bag and I push, or I push the bag in the hole, or I push the bags off, or whatever, then I end up wasting the rest of the bags in that round are not utilized for rollback training. With these trainers here is you'll see here, even if I hit this bag with the bag, it's not moving. It'll move a little bit, but it's not gonna push it out of the way. It's not gonna push it all. It still stays there. And even if I get bags piled up behind it, that's still something you would see in a game situation is a bunch of bags piled up, maybe in your last bag that you got to roll over. So I can still continue to throw all four bags as roll bags. So I get to maximize each round that I play. And honestly, I could have set up and thrown two sets of bags. I could have thrown 8 bags with these. I really could have doubled up the amount of practice that I got in that short period of time. So it just lets me maximize my practice time. Normally I go out and I'll practice rolls. I've been trying to throw a roll to some degree. My issue is I don't have a lot of practice time because I'm typically, anytime I have free time available, I'm out there recording videos for the next reviews. And that's where my practice time is the reviews take priority over my game and my practice because, I'm trying to put the content out. I've got bags to review. I want to get the content out for you guys. So it's always a priority to me. So when I do have time to practice, and over the last, month or two, I've really tried to work on roll bags, but I may get out there for a half hour, 45 minutes, once a week. Sometimes once every 2 weeks I get out there. And when I'm out there throwing, during that time, I would say at least half, if not 2/3 of that time, I'm spent resetting bags or I'm throwing bags that aren't roll bags because I threw a bad bag and I end up messing the blockers up and I couldn't use that time for practicing rolls. With these, the entire 15 minutes, every bag I threw was a roll bag attempt. And every bag was a successful roll bag. In fact, in 15 minutes, you'll see I only had a few clips here of me actually trying to roll bags. And I don't think, initially I was rolling, they were getting over, kind of up and over, but they weren't going in the hole. And then I got a few to go in. Like I said, towards the end, 2 of the best roll bags ever thrown, which was encouraging to me because I typically struggle with roll bags. And the thing is, it's not this bag. Like the issue for me is the technique. I know what I need to do. It's just getting the reps in to do it. And so the more reps I can get in, the better I can get at doing that technique. And these trainers allow me to get those reps in and maximize what little bit of time I have. And for people who say it doesn't act like a real bag, it doesn't, but it does. You've got some movement here. If I hit the bag, you'll see them move. They give a little bit. They're not going to give as much as a live bag in a game. But in a game, I'm not practicing throwing rolls. I'm not, in a game, I'm not going to throw a shot that I haven't practiced, that I don't feel like I don't have the confidence I can hit. So it gives me the ability to practice these. And then once you hone the skills on these, then you can move to live bags or move to real bags. And once you've gotten the technique down, there's less chance of you pushing those blockers bags in when you're practicing a real bag. So this is just a training tool to help you hone those skills and hone those techniques. And I think about, other sports, like go to baseball, Major League Baseball. You go watch the pro players practice. A lot of the hitting times they'll spend hitting off a tee. Does a tee simulate a 95-mile-an-hour fastball? Absolutely not. It's not game situations. But what they're doing is they're working on technique. They're working on, maybe they're having an issue with that down and away ball. They set that tee down there and they're trying to work on their swing to hit that ball. Maybe they're working on the high and in or whatever. They can move the ball around the tee and get the ball exactly where they want every swing so they can maximize it. If they were in live batting practice, even if the pitcher was throwing slower, doesn't mean the ball is going to be exactly what they need. So they're not utilizing that full time to work on exactly what they work on, and that's what the tee is for. Go to a PGA Tour event or and go to the driving range and look at those golfers. A lot of times they're using different items, different practice items, different drills that aren't what you would see in a real tournament. They aren't the shots they would hit. They can't use those tools when they're out on the golf course hitting live shots, but they're utilizing those tools to help them work on a technique, work on a specific thing, and to maximize their training time. And that's exactly what these roll bags are for, is to allow you to maximize your training time to get the most out of it. But for those of you who don't throw roll bags, this is something I found that you can use for other things. Basically, any type of shot where you want to block part of the board is where you can use it. So if I want to throw a cut shot, I can set this up. I can block the left side of the board if I want to throw my right to left cut, and I can work on throwing a right to left cut. If I want to throw a reverse cut, a left to right cut, I can block the right side of the board, and I can throw left to right and work on that. Again, is it going to react exactly the way as if my opponent threw a blocker there? No, but it's going to give me feedback. I can tell if I hit the bag. I can tell if I get around it cleanly. It's just what it does is typically if I throw a cut shot and there's a blocker there and I hit that bag, my bag's going to cut. It's going to move that bag out of the way. And then again, the next time I throw, I don't have that bag. I've got to reset it or I'm not going to get the same practice time. With this, my bag will hit, but it'll still go in. Or even if it hits and stops, now I can work on throwing a cut to collect. So I can still utilize the next bags following along behind it to practice that shot that I want. And you can work on both sides, inside arm, outside arm, however you want to do it. Maybe you want to work on throwing a get around shot. So sometimes what I will do is I will take this bag and place it vertical instead of horizontal, but you can do it horizontal. And I will put it down the middle and block most of the hole and step out. And now I can work on practicing throwing that get around, right? I'm trying to just sneak around the bag and maybe just clip the corner of the hole. The idea is my opponent throw a blocker to the middle. I don't want to collect that blocker. I want to just get around it. And I can practice doing that with this bag. Maybe you struggle with, maybe you're a hard thrower and you're trying to find ways to develop a higher, softer landing bag, or you struggle when your opponent throws that bag that hits a dead spot and stops short on the board. Put this bag down low on the board, wherever you want it, and practice throwing over it. And what I like about this over not having something there is you get the feedback if you hit the bag. So if you hit the bag, you can tell you're going to see this bag move, but it's also going to cause your thrown bag to sometimes react really weird, and get the instant feedback that you landed right or you did. It's not a guess of, I think I landed where I want to, but I didn't know. So you can put this bag on there, and if you really want to work on dialing in that high, soft shot, slowly move this bag up the board and keep landing over it and landing over it and landing over it. The other thing that I work on sometimes is I will put two bags up there, and I will put a lane. This is where I want to land my bag. Consistency has always been my biggest problem. By putting two bags up there vertically like this, it forces me to land in the middle. And if I hit one of those bags, I know it. And if I hit one of those bags and my bag stays there, I can flip over my next bag fast side and I can practice on pushing, but still work on hitting that exact spot. And you can, widen or narrow the gap between to really dial in exactly where you want to land. You can move them off to the side. If you want to work on hitting a cut and landing exactly in a certain spot, move them over to the side and you work on a cut shot, whether it's a right to left or a left to right, wherever you want to do. You can get very creative with these and put these on the board and utilize them for other things besides just rollback training. I think they're being sold as rollback trainers, but these are really just trainers. In my mind, this is a training bag. There's so many different ways you can utilize these. There's probably another 100 ways that I haven't thought of that you could utilize these for training. What I would like from you guys is if you've used these and you've got some training ideas, drop a comment down below. Let me know, how do you utilize them for training? How are you using them? What's a different technique or a method you've found that works really good for you? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to put a list together and say, look at all the different ways you can use these bags in training to make you a better player. Because in the end, it's all about developing that skill. The idea of practice is not necessarily to simulate game time. Right? I think sometimes people think it's the whole thing. People said all the time is that practice makes perfect, but it's not really that, right? Your practice is not supposed to be perfect. Your practice is supposed to be where you're working on the areas that you struggle with. The practice should be sometimes messy and sometimes ugly. And the idea of this is to allow you to be messy and ugly, but still be able to maximize those shots. You're not having to go reset. You're not having to walk on every time because you made a mistake. And then once I get them mastered here, I can then take the next step and go to a live bag or a real bag. And in that case, I should be able to be more consistent of throwing roll bags over real bags and not pushing them in, so then I can maximize it from that standpoint. I think for everybody out there, you could utilize this for some part of your game. Now, if you don't practice, if all you just play games, are you going to benefit from this? No. And look, if you don't practice, that's fine. But for some of us out there, we want to add to our game. We want to take our game to the next level. We want to add areas where we struggle at. Find practicing is the best place to do it. And I think if you're a player who likes to practice and you're looking for new ways or different ways to practice or ways to change practice up or ways to work on different areas, that's where these trainers come in, and that's where I think you're gonna benefit from them. Now, for these easy rolls from True Cornhole, if you go to their website, truecornhole.com, they've got them up there now for $75.99 for two of these. So you get the pair of them. It's nice to have two because you can really, I didn't do it in my video, but you could set one up at each board, practice, go down, turn around, throw back the other way and practice and really maximize your practice. You throw back and forth. You can utilize them. So two of them for $75.99. It was $13 shipping from True Cornhole. So it's like $88.99, $89 for this item. If you use Mike's Bags 10, it'll get you 10% off of that, save you some money. So you put that in the code area for the checkout. You'll drop that price down. For those of you who practice and for those of you who really want to take your game to that next level, I encourage you to give these a thought. Look at these, try them out, think about them. I think you're going to really enjoy these. I think you're going to utilize these more than you really think because it's not just, as I mentioned, it's not just for the rollbacks. There's so many other things you can do with them. And there's other things that I probably haven't thought about yet that you can do. So again, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're utilizing these for other areas, other shot types, drop a comment down below. Let me know. As always, I thank you guys so much for your support, and I thank you for watching.